Well, today I get the honor to introduce each of our ministers. Now, I'm not going to read their full bios because that's too long and we'd be here till tomorrow. And there's food in the back. Yes, I know. My priority is food. So, I'm just going to read a couple of lines, and we're excited today because we have all our ministers here. This is great. Let me start with Reverend William Bill Whitley, who was ordained in 1988, is a founder of the chapel, and is the chapel's lead minister. He's been a member since October the 25th, 1985. Happy anniversary yesterday, Bill, for membership. How about that? Next, we have Reverend Bettye Mason. Yes. She was ordained in 1995 and is a senior minister of the chapel, and that's not because you have gray hair, and has been a member since November of 1986. Reverend Sharon Flynn was ordained in 2002 and has been a chapel member since November of 1994. Yeah. Cherylynn Tyler was ordained in 2017 and has been a member since 2005. Reverend Trish was ordained June of this year and has been a member since December of 2018. And last but not least, not at all, is Reverend Stanley Masczcak, who was ordained in July of this year. This has been a phenomenal year, and he's been a member since January of 2018.
And I'm the youngest one.
Bill and I want to say to you, don't rub it in.
I shave my gray off.
So, please join me in welcoming our most recent ordained minister, Reverend Stanley Masczcak, to the podium, who's going to start off the presentations.
Bring it.
All right. I mean, you got to have an opening act, right? All right. I'm going to do this because I got a couple inch heels on down here. All right, great. So good to be here with you all as we're celebrating our 40th year of ministry at the Metaphysical Chapel of Life. That needs another hand. Especially when we understand that this chapel has been an all-volunteer chapel for 40 years. Not a single minister, board member, volunteer has ever paid for their work here. We are all giving labors of love to keep this community going, just as all our members are. So give each other a hand too. So today we are honoring all those who created this community at the outset, Reverend Bill Whitley and his colleagues, and also all those who have come and gone over the years. As we talked about our theme this year being the theme of spiritual oasis, we recognize that some people come and go to get their drink of water, and that is a beautiful part of the chapel we have come to embrace and love. And as I reflect on why I joined, why I chose to follow this path of ordained ministry here and with our mother church, the Church of Enlightenment, and why I love this community so much, I can't help but reflect on our purpose statement here at the chapel, and I'm going to read that for you. Our purpose at the Metaphysical Chapel of Life is to provide a space to worship God from within our own beings, free from dogma or the controlling influences of any one specific religion. This means the open acceptance of everyone and every religion, understanding that we all worship the same God within and without. Furthermore, the purpose of the chapel is to share the love and light in ourselves and others so that we are open and receptive to the flow of God's light and love. Isn't that beautiful? There is so much freedom in that statement, while still being committed to helping each other along the way to find our unique purposes and paths in this lifetime, and helping each other embody all the ways we're meant to connect with and support each other as individuals and as communities around our world and our community here. As we meditate, as we practice spiritual healing, as we move our bodies, as we observe nature, as we participate in our creative expressions, whatever they might be, singing, dancing, art, movement, other joyful expression, we deepen into that unconditional love and that acceptance and that illumination we're all here to receive, embody, and share in these lifetimes. And this is all something our world is in great need of today, more than ever before, perhaps, in many of our lifetimes, which reminds me of some of the purpose statement and principles from our mother church, the Church of Enlightenment, which is also on our website. But part of that I want to read as well: to formulate a religion for the betterment of humanity and the planet, to worship God, our source, and to expand within individual consciousness and awareness and attunement to that source, to be unlimited both individually and as an organization in our search for and application of truth. And there's more to that to read online as well. But the principles of the Church of Enlightenment, too, go so well and are so important to center today. And it's a reminder that, quote, inasmuch as we practice the trinity of humanity, of body, of mind, and of spirit, we hold valid and necessary the continuing evolvement of all of these areas in life: body, mind, and spirit. We believe that we cannot separate the spirit from the body, or the mind from the body, or the body from the spirit. We believe that we're a homogeneous blending of all three, that one area, body, mind, or spirit, cannot change without affecting a change in the other areas. It's one of the reasons we practice spiritual healing. One of the reasons we're so committed to helping each person cultivate their own inner sense of alignment, so we can cultivate that sense of balance that is unique to each of us, that we're here to help each other create. So I am grateful for all that I've received from this community, from the ministers, the board members, past and present, from our regulars, the people who come in and out to this beautiful oasis. And I'm sure we will continue to create a similar oasis that is growing and evolving and expanding over the next 40 years, as well as we continue nurturing and inspiring and involving ourselves and humanity in body, mind, and spirit. So I'll close my portion today with the words of the great theologian and mystic Howard Thurman, who said, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive."
I'll
I'll be followed by Reverend Trish Glad.
All right, do I need to adjust?
A little bit.
A little bit, I'm
Take
guessing.
my water too, sorry.
I thought that was gin. Gin. If it were gin, I'd keep it.
You're good. Okay. Perfect.
Okay, all right. So in my bio, my short bio, you heard that I actually been a member since 2018, but the first time I actually walked into the chapel doors was 2017. And when I came here, I was feeling I was really out of sorts. I had recently lost a teacher and a mentor of 10 years who some of the folks at the chapel knew. It was a lady named Loretta Kless. And she died very suddenly. And so I was still jarred from that. I had been part of one of her teaching circles for about 10 years. And in those 10 years, that was really my entire sense of my metaphysical connection, my spiritual connection. And now with Loretta gone, I really felt like a boat adrift, no rudder, no motor, no sail. And I was feeling just very empty. I have a lot of people who supported me and loved me and respected my beliefs, but that's very different than being part of a community of people who actually live the same experiences that you live. So after a couple of lonely months, spiritually lonely months, I started searching, and I went online because I remembered Loretta had talked about a chapel that she would sometimes speak at and sometimes go to. And I thought it was in Newport News, so I found this chapel online. And it seemed like a likely candidate. I couldn't remember the name. And so I decided to get brave. I'm not necessarily brave when it comes to new communities. And I ventured down one Sunday. And so my plan was, I wasn't really sure, spiritual community, I hadn't been part of a church since I left the Catholic Church, really. And I wasn't really looking for a church. I was wishing I had a spiritual center. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to head down there. I'll quietly sneak in a back door. I'll just make my way to the back, hide in the back, don't talk to anyone, and kind of put up my feelers, my psychic feelers, and scan the crowd. and determine if they're a bunch of nuts. And if they are, I'll quietly sneak back out the back, and that'll be it, and I'll try and figure out where Loretta really went, because that probably wasn't it. So that was my plan. That was not how it went. What really happened was I walked through that same door that most of you walked through today, and as soon as I walked in, I looked around trying to scout out front and back, where was I going to hide, and this tall, lanky fellow with a southern accent immediately locked eyes with me and came striding over and introduced himself as Bill. And he introduced me and welcomed me there, and as he was talking, several other people realized that I was there and I was someone new, and they came over and they all seemed kind and intelligent and really grounded, and I was like, this is very unusual. And then something happened that made me really feel at home. I felt them with their little feelers scanning me. And I felt like I was known. I felt like in that moment, without me telling them a story or explaining my background, they knew me. They didn't. I had never met them before, but that made me feel like I was home. So that was how it really unfurled. And since then, I've had the opportunity to greet many other people who have come through the door for the first time, much to my honor. There's really something very special about the company of people who are really comfortable with their intuitive gifts and their intuitive senses, as I'm sure that everyone in this community knows. That's something we all share and what draws us here. To me, it's the relief of not having to maintain a facade, because everyone's going to see through it anyways. It's not useful. So you don't even have to bother. And it's the relief of not having to filter out words that the regular mainstream public might consider really woo-woo and sort of move away from you with a little, you know. So you let that guard down when you're in a community of supporters and believers and experiencers and people who understand the energy. I can comment on how weird the energy has been the previous week, and someone in the vicinity will give me an astrological explanation of why that is. And that feels really good. It's validating. So most of my life and all of the responsibilities, of course, they take place outside this chapel. Really, the time I get to spend in the chapel is a very small slice of life. It's a small slice of time. Family and work and all the obligations keep the house going. But I come to this chapel for the spiritual and emotional fortitude that really helps me get through the rest of my life and helps me meet those other demands with a clear mind and a strong heart, knowing that there is a group of believers and supporters and experiencers, and makes me know that this is truth. This is really normalcy. This is something that we have been lucky enough to recognize in ourselves. We would love for others to recognize it in themselves. They may not be ready yet, or that might not be part of their path. But by coming here, that reinforces me knowing that it validates what I know and what I feel. So that's what the chapel means to me. All of you, as part of this community, really keep me and my boat from going adrift again. You are my boat's rudders and my boat's sails, and you will never know how much that means to me, so thank you. And now I have the honor of introducing Reverend Cherylynn.
Hello, everybody. Now, am I centered and all that in there? Oh, look at my hair. Anyway.
Stay on your tippy toes.
Okay, there we go. So, look at all these wonderful people here today. So, my talk today is going to be on forgiveness. We know the holidays are coming up. We've got friends and family going to be calling. And can you do this? Can you do that? Can you come here? Can you cook this? Can you cook that? And of course, old emotions and feelings are going to come to the surface. Can you believe she asked me to fix this and take me over here? She knows it's going to take me a few hours. And it's like all these things, family and friends, just bubble to the surface. But as we know from an energy standpoint, holding feelings in, holding resentment in, doesn't affect anybody but you. You know, think about the holidays. What happens to you on a physical level? You get a headache, a migraine, your back hurts, your feet hurt. There's a wonderful book that I read years ago. It's called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And at the beginning of the book, they talk about how your feelings affect your body. And then the last half of the book, alphabetically, you can look up, you've got a headache. Look up headache. And it'll tell you several things that can be happening. Your feet hurt. Well, what's your feet? It's your support system. It helps you move around. It helps you to get from place to place. So are you feeling like you don't have any support? Same thing with your back. It's a wonderful book and something, you know, I would suggest for everybody to read. But let's see here. In Ephesians 4:31 and 32, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. So there's 4 really important things that your spirit would like for you to heal and forgive so that you can grow and move forward. What I would suggest is create a bubble of healing, love, and light. And each one of these 4 things, put it in this bubble. Keep the experience from it because you need it to heal and to grow. But the feelings and the emotions that go along with it, they don't serve your greater good. They just keep things in turmoil and bubbling. Put them in this bubble. Send it to your Akashic records to be stored, only to come forward when you need them. So the first thing, if you're serious about healing, the first thing to heal is your parents. Whether they're living or gone, whether they did the best or fall short, they gave you life. The only purpose for being born to them may have been because that's what you needed for your path, just like taking a train. You might have to get off at a stop that you really don't want, but if that's the job you need and the place you need to be, that's the train you need to take. Same thing for your parents. They gave you life, and holding on to what they couldn't give you will only keep you stuck. Thank them for what they could offer. Put them in this bubble, send it on to your Akashic records to be stored. The second thing, people you once loved, the ones who didn't stay, the ones who couldn't meet you where you were, just like was said before me, if people don't understand your path, they don't understand the spiritualness, they don't understand the intuition, that's okay. It's not their path. It's not them. It's all on you. Wish them healing. But stop opening a door that life has already closed. Put them in this bubble and release them. Just send them on to be stored in your Akashic records. 3, everyone else that hurt you. Friends, strangers, co-workers, people that let you down. Somebody cut in line in front of you at the grocery store. You know those thoughts were going. Somebody that cut you off in traffic, merged in when traffic was heavy, and they were on the shoulder and came and just about hit you to get into traffic. You know those thoughts are going, and under your breath you're like, blah, 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 blah. You might even verbalize them if you don't have anybody in the car but you. So my son is usually with me, so I have to kind of keep those to myself. But all of those, keeping the pot boiling, you don't need anything that you think or you say. You need your peace. Wipe that slate clean. Not for them. Don't worry about these people in traffic. Don't worry about the person cut in front of you. You don't know what's going on in their mind. They might have an emergency they're trying to get home to. You don't know. Give yourself peace. Wipe that slate clean. Release them. The last one, this 4th one, is most important. Forgive yourself. The hardest one. The version of you that made mistakes, that didn't know better. You can't carry the past forever. And I've been at jobs and done something, and I was like, I didn't know. How did I know? Nobody told me. Nobody showed me. I didn't know that I was putting this in the wrong place. I didn't know that I was supposed to call this person. I didn't know I was supposed to do this or that. Don't work it up in your mind, overthink it. Just forgive it, release it, and let it go. Because the time is now. Forgiveness is not weakness. It's a release. You can't move forward when you drag everything behind you. Think of all of this, each instance, if it was a brick, and you had a sack over your back like Santa Claus, and all of these were bricks, 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 bricks. You can't move forward when you've got this hanging on and you're dragging it and dragging it and dragging it. Then what do? You fuss about the fact that you're going so slow. This thing is heavy. How did all these people put this stuff on you and do it to you? Let it go. Drop it. Imagine hearing it with a thunk and then just kind of go, move forward and walk away. So forgive yourself. Take all the turmoil and the confusion and the pain and anything that's keeping you stuck. Put them in this bubble. Forgive yourself and release these bubbles. And when I do it, I always ask that all of these feelings and emotions of all these things that I've experienced, that I release them in the Christ light and in the Christ name to be stored in my Akashic record. So as the holidays are coming up, and we all know family and friends, mostly family, they can push your buttons because they helped install them. So they're very close to you. So they're very close to you and they hit hardest to your heart. So just any of these frustrations come up, just take a breath. See, I release them. Even if you say it when you're on the phone with them and they're like, what? It doesn't matter if you understand. It's on me. I release them. So I wish everybody blessings through this holiday season and through the afternoon here. And let me see, who is our next person? Miss Sharon Flynn. Go. Here is Reverend Sharon Flynn. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, my. Woohoo. I haven't been able to look behind me. Oh, probably do need to have some adjustments.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little.
Shorter than everybody else.
Good things come in small packages.
Good things come in small packages. All right. All right, we got it?
Yeah.
Well, I came across this beautiful quote that I wanted to share with everybody for this happy 40th anniversary here at Chapel. I'm so excited to see everyone. So the quote is, everything with Source is possible. If you are with God, all is available to you. I just heard that last night and I thought it was the perfect fit. So I want to tell you a little bit about how I came to join the chapel. And it was, so thank you, Susan, because I couldn't remember if it was 1995 or 1994. And so apparently it's 1994. It was a while ago. So I met two people at the soccer field. That's how I joined the church. My middle son was very active in every sport. So you happen to sit beside different people, and I ended up talking to Pat Thompson and Bob Gately.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's who, they had two sons there the same time I did, and that's how I ventured in. They told me to come to equinox or solstice, and we're going to dance around like a bunch of crazy people, and I thought that was a good thing. And so I joined the chapel. I feel like when I joined, there were so many people the same age expressing and intuitively wanting to know more about the spiritual growth and the spiritual evolvement of their soul. And so we had a big social group, and we all hung out in chapel and outside of chapel. It was very active at that time. And I remember definitely started off with doing readings at the psychic fair. Then I started teaching, and I remember Bill looking at me and he's saying, you ought to apply for a novitiate. And I go, what? I had no idea I would be a minister at some point here at this chapel when I first walked in. It was healing for me. And I was also going through a lot of change in my life. But I felt like God guided me here. And I was very blessed to actually venture into this place. And so at the same time, I was also an elder at a Presbyterian church, and I also joined this church because I could. Without any situations. So as I went through that change in my life, I did divorce in 1996, and this was the precursor to me finding a home, a spiritual home, somebody that connected. I felt like I very much connected, and I felt very supported here. And I always felt that God was guiding me to whatever it is that I needed to do. So one of the things that I felt that this was my home. This was a home that I so needed at that time. I was a little broken at that time, but I knew for sure that that connection that I had to God was the anchor within me. So I found a home here at chapel. I always felt like God was guiding me here and connected. And one of the things is sort of, I like the Oasis mindset of this chapel because there has been a lot of people coming and a lot of people going. And this place is a very open, very blessed, very connecting place. It's a family of spirit. And it's a family where we can give and we can also receive. And I've been to a lot of churches in my life, and as soon as I walk in here, I feel welcomed and loved. And that is, to me, the most precious thing that we can receive in any group. And I don't believe a stranger will walk through this door ever. So I'd like to just close with prayer because I feel like that it's important for us to all sync up with this prayer. Father, Mother God, Heavenly Creator, we ask for blessings upon each one of us here so we can be filled with your light and your love, so we can be that light that others need here at this chapel and elsewhere in our life. Let us be that source of your light and love and truth, that we may share our light with everyone, our love with all that will receive it, and the blessings that we can give and to receive here at the chapel and elsewhere. We ask this in your blessed name, Christ's light. Amen. Amen. So many blessings, short and sweet today. Oh, hold on. I got one more thing to do. I would like to introduce Reverend Bettye Mason.
Someone's trying to embarrass me. Okay. Well, good morning to everyone here.
Good morning. Good morning.
And this is, yeah, and and on Zoom, good morning. What's that?
Trish.
Okay, she got to adjust me. I think it's interesting that both Stanley and Trish both came here in 2017. Now they are both ministers in leadership roles. So, hint, hint. The very first thing I'd like to do is to thank the board of directors, the Board of Ministers, the committees, and all the volunteers for planning an entire week of wonderful homecoming events. And to thank you all for joining us today for the homecoming finale. And what a wonderful group. I'm just standing here and I'm looking at everybody's face. Place is packed today. We were asked to talk for a few minutes about what the chapel means to us. Excuse me. Well, it's going to be a little difficult thing for me to try to give you over my half of my life's experience here in the chapel in just a few minutes, but I'm going to do my best. Got to get this cough drop out of my mouth. Okay. I was introduced to the chapel in September 1985 by Peggy Graham and John Mars. And both of them, they're both no longer with us physically, but they do join us in spirit from time to time right there on that front row. Don't jump, you all. And I think that at that time, them inviting me, it was sort of like a divine intervention because I was going through a spiritual emergency at that time, and I was literally out of this world. But that's another beautiful story in itself. Beautiful story. In 1985, the church was still on the south side, on the south side, under a different name, and I believe it was going through its second incarnation. And service was being held in Norfolk in the living room of Reverend Yacker's apartment. So as you can see, we've come a long way since then. It's a little bigger than an apartment living room. But some of you have heard me say before that I grew up in the Baptist church. During my childhood, I felt that there was more than I was hearing from the pulpit then. And I had a lot of questions and I couldn't get answers to those questions, even to the point of being told one time that it was blasphemy for me to ask such questions. Southern Baptist Church, by the way. So when I graduated from high school, I left home with the thought that I wanted a teacher, not a preacher. The Bible, not a preacher. So over the years, I went to many different churches of different denominations, different states, and different cities. And I still didn't get answers to my question. Like the song said, I still couldn't find what I was looking for. So, to make a 40-year-old story shorter, 40 years, the chapel answered those questions for me. The chapel was the teacher that I had been looking for all these years. So I started attending service every Sunday and all the classes and events that was being held. And I finally became a member in November 1986 when the chapel was established here on the peninsula under the name of the Chapel of Life. And at this point, I'd like to throw in a little sidebar. And that is, to my knowledge, there are 3 members still with the chapel from the 1986 group. And there's Susan Bauer, interesting that you on the Reverend Whitley, and myself. And there's what has happened that many have passed away since then. Some have moved out of the area. And they do come back from time to time if they're in the area. So I like to say that today, to any who have come back today for homecoming, I'd like to just say to you, welcome home. Yes. And I do see a few faces. I do. Welcome home. So getting back to my initial experience with the chapel, when I would listen to the ministers and the speakers talking or attend class or events, I would feel what I like to call a quickening of the spirit. What they were saying, you felt that something jumped inside of you, that little joy, because it's like and then I knew what they were saying was the truth that spoke to me. And those truth, the answers, the questions that I had all my life that were getting answered. And so for the first time, I really felt alive. Somebody mentioned before about being alive. I really felt alive. I felt that I had found my identity. And what I felt was pure joy. And I felt that I was home. And my long-held conception of God and Jesus was supported by the teachings and the philosophies of the chapel. I learned that my spiritual gifts were normal and there was nothing to be afraid of. I learned how easy it is to live a spiritual life and to walk a spiritual path because that's who we are already. At our core, that's who we already are. And when we do that, we are just becoming our true selves, peeling away all the layers and the misconceptions and all the other stuff. But most importantly, what I found here was a community of like-minded seekers and believers with open hearts and open minds and open arms. You know, you can always get a hug when you walk through that door. Open arms. And to me, the chapel offered an intimate environment where I was a person, not just a number. And you know what I mean when you go to larger churches. Not just a dollar sign.
All right now.
And I felt that, I'm sorry, I felt that I belong. So for the past 40 years, the chapel has been a community that provides a space that welcomes like-minded seekers, that accept all religions and denominations, all ethnicities, all individuals from all walks of life. It has been an environment for those on their own spiritual path, your own spiritual path, not what someone tell you should be, but your choice.
I see.
The chapel is a space that provides support, healing, love, and acceptance without judgment. And I do believe that through everyone here on Zoom, everyone here, that it will be that spirit of love and acceptance that ensures that the chapel will continue to be a source of love, strength, healing, comfort, and belonging for everyone who walked through our doors for many years to come. Thank you and many blessings to you. Clean off my junk. Oh, I don't need to introduce him. Because there's so much I would love to say about him. Oh, by the way, through everything I was going through, Bill was there. He was there as a guide for me. So our next speaker, our lead minister and founder, and I like to call him the glue that holds the chapel together, Reverend William A. Whitley.
Good morning. And my life for the last month and a half, I guess you'd say, has been extremely busy, extremely full. And during all of this time, I've been meaning to sit down and write the words that I wanted to say this morning, but never seemed to get that moment, never seemed to get that time. And I have some words that I'd like to share this morning. With a very special gentleman here who I foresee as our next minister in the chapel, and that's Brandon Solon. Brandon did his first lecture from the podium, and he seemed to be having a hard time with it, but he really wasn't. I don't think he understands at this point what was happening to him. So I want to explain it to him before I start talking about what I want to talk about. When you get behind this podium, all of those in the realm of spirit are behind this podium with you. And you fill up with a feeling of love. And that feeling of love is so emotional that it overcomes anything and everything you're trying to say and trying to do. That is a love that is deeper and more overwhelming than any physical love you will ever encounter in your life. And when you open yourself in that moment and feel that love inside, you're going to be overwhelmed. Okay? And if you have tears that come in that moment, that's okay. We had a minister that spoke here, and almost every time he spoke here, he was overcoming with emotion, particularly when he read a poem, and that was the Reverend George Kincaid. And it's okay. That is a feeling you want not to get rid of. Okay? Since I didn't have the opportunity to put everything together, I got my words at that magical hour, 3 a.m. So you know, the 3 a.m. is a magical time in the night. Spirit always seems to come at 3 a.m. The universe always seems to respond at 3 a.m. So the words I'm going to share with you are not about me, but they're the words that I received at 3 a.m. The Oasis. Psalms 107, 35 through 36. But he also can turn a barren wilderness into an oasis with water. He can make springs flow into desert lands. An oasis is either a fertile area in a desert with a source of water, or any place of experience that provides welcome relief or a pleasant change from difficulty. It serves as a refuge, sanctuary, or place of peace in a surrounding, difficult, or unpleasant environment. I like questions, and evidently Spirit likes questions because they always give me questions. So I want to begin with a question, as I might most of the time do. If you wanted the most precious thing in life, diamonds, jewels, gold, or anything you want, could you afford it? I want you to close your eyes now and imagine that you're walking through the desert, a desert that hasn't had any rain for years. You've been walking for a long time, and as you trudge on, you are thirsty and parched. Your thirst is so overwhelming, it is the only thing in your awareness. You continue to slowly walk, and as you do, clouds begin to form above you. Your awareness shifts from the desert around you to the clouds above you. As you watch the clouds, one by one, individual drops of rain begin to fall from them. You suddenly realize that all you have to do is open your mouth to catch each drop, one by one. At this moment, Each drop of rain is the most precious thing on earth that you can acquire. Each drop more precious than jewels, diamonds, and gold. But it comes to you from the heavens above, totally free of cost. All you have to do is open your mouth and be receptive. We are all walking through the desert of our life, looking for the things that are most precious to us. We are wondering if we can afford them. As we walk through the desert of life, sometimes a precious jewel will appear in our day, such as the raindrops to the dwellers of the desert. They spend their lifetime moving from place to place in the desert, and each time they take a new journey, they look for the precious jewel of the desert. That jewel is an oasis. The oasis provides water, rest, and nourishment for everyone. They spend all of their life wandering through the desert. Their journey stops only when they reach the next oasis. There to find nourishment, renew, and replenish themselves. The chapel is an oasis we find in the desert of our life. As we walk our journey, we are all looking for something. We are all looking for the oasis which will revitalize us, refresh us, rejuvenate us. To me, that has always been what a desert oasis is. To me, that is the Metaphysical Chapel of Life. The chapel is my oasis in the desert of life. We have people that are walking through the desert of life and happen upon the chapel, the oasis. They stop for just a drink of the water of life, just for a moment of nourishment, and then they continue their journey. Others who stop at the oasis cease or delay their wandering and remain at the oasis. They do so to ensure that there is water, refreshment, and rejuvenation for others who stop on their journey. That is what the ministers at the chapel, the board members at the chapel, and the congregation at the chapel do. We provide a place for everyone walking through the desert of life to stop, have a drink of water, replenish, receive nourishment, hope, and renewal. To me, that oasis, the chapel of life, is a precious jewel. It has no monetary value. There is not a cost to be present at the oasis. There is no charge for this precious jewel. No amount of money can purchase it. What we learn here, what we receive here, helps us to move on with our life and share what we have learned with others. It is one of the most precious commodities that we have ever received in life, for which we had to pay nothing. We only had to walk from the desert onto the oasis and simply accept that what is shared at the chapel, just simply accept that which is shared at the chapel, the oasis of life.
you.